comes a time in every child's life when they eventually grow a sense of courage and clarity to combat in their long instilled childhood fears and progress slowly into a productive member of society and have grown-up fears like massive debt and crippling anxiety. You know, like all of us normal people. It's a damn shame that this game successfully ruins all my hard work and plunges me back into the snot-nosed 6-year-old cowering in fear at the damn troll in my closet. If there's one thing you can take from this game throughout the whole review, is that it's not some cheap jump scare game. The atmosphere it creates is truly terrifying. I haven't been this on edge since the good old days of Silent Hill 2, where a man with a middle school math problem for a face tried to kill you, and the prostitute you kept around for reasons? I'm Lawrence Armstrong. You're watching Indie Review, and this is my review of Little Nightmares by Tarsier Studios. Probably butchered that name. As always, before I get into the meat of this review, I might as well tell you what the damages this will do to your hard drive. Thank the flying bowl of pasta in the sky that indie games are so small in data, as this game will only need about 10 gigabytes on either console or PC to run at a smooth quality. During my full playthrough, there were no real spikes or game-breaking graphical glitches, so as long as you got enough space to play it, you're expected to have a nice, but terrifying couple of hours ahead of you. The digital version of this game for both Steam and consoles will run you up about $20, and that's a decent price for its length. Unless you want to get a physical copy, but don't worry, we're gonna get to that. I'd like to point out that before I started this game, I tried my best to avoid any sort of spoilers or even basic information about the game, in order to enjoy it to its fullest. It's a good thing I did this too. As I watched trailers after I beat the game's plot itself can be very sensitive to spoilers, and even a small amount of information can give you pretty big clues onto what's going on. I'm also the type of person who doesn't like to spoil, so I'll just give you the basic rundown of the plot and then get right into the gameplay. You play as a little girl on a rusted, broken-down ship inhabited by grotesque creatures that treat you as either a meal, a toy, or a threat. Lovely people, I know. Your overall mission is to find your true purpose for being on there while also looking for a way to save yourself out into the area and into freedom. It may not seem like a lot of information, but that's all the game kinda gives you in the beginning. You don't really need any more information. You're small, they're big, you need to get out of there. The story simply unravels as you play it. Speaking of playing, let's move on to the gameplay. This game is comparable to games like Limbo and Little Big Planet, as there are 2D platformers with 3-dimensional aspects. The game uses the technique more than the previous games mentioned, however, as the rooms you explore are in full 3 dimensions, yet the camera is at a fixed location. You'll need to utilize everything in each room in order to progress forward. Whether it be jumping on mattresses, disabling electrical gates, or jumping from cage to cage, you'll also have to take the time not to get spotted by the ship's security systems, or be captured by the citizens who dwell in the shadows. These sections consist of you running to escape odd, leech-like creatures that spring out of nowhere for quick, panic-fueled rush sections, or hiding under large furniture in order to avoid the spotlights or the creatures themselves. And trust me, these sections create nail-biting suspense. It's simple, but combined with the atmosphere and complexity of some puzzles, you get this lovely mixture of stress and fear with a dash of pride for any accomplishments. And in all honesty, I wasn't lying at the beginning of the review when I said the atmosphere makes everything in this game. Horror can be described in many different ways. You can have cheap jump scare games that just like to get a reaction out of you, and you've also got games that are scary simply due to the difficulty and undying sense of failure. Then you've got games like Silent Hill, well, at least the good ones, and Outlast. Even though these games can also abuse jump scares or rapid difficulty spikes, there's something about them that create an atmosphere that makes you feel truly and utterly alone. Any hopes of success are clouded by a thick layer of depressing surroundings and grim consequences to the point where any chance of companionship is seen as a huge sigh of relief. This game, I feel, pulls this feeling off excellently for a large majority of the playtime. So let's not beat around the bush anymore. Is this game worth it? Short answer? Yeah. And the long answer comes to you in the form of a simple pros and cons section. Pro number 1. As mentioned before, this game presents a great sense of tone and urgency through its astoundingly created atmosphere and seemingly instant loading times of sections of the game. The immersion can be broken sometimes if you die, but that sounds more like a con than a pro, so I'll get to that later. Pro number 2. The gameplay, while at times feeling wobbly, is smooth and easy to get a hold of very early on, to create a natural flow very quickly. Pro number 3. The game is sprinkled with little moments of hope and relaxation that gives the player a warm, fuzzy feeling of safety and a calming sigh of relief. That may seem a little cheesy and stupid, but to be frank, it's an incredible thing when a game is able to do that and get you that much more invested in the world you're living in. Pro number 4. Each boss and creature inhabiting this game feels unique in design and well animated in execution, making your opponents seem like a true force to be reckoned with. Con number 1. Some enemies like the leeches have wonky hitboxes at times, which can lead to a somewhat unfair game over screen. But I know that can just be solved with a little get good and do better. But I don't know, it just doesn't get a free pass from me for that. Con number 2. The game's platforming, while very simple, can be extremely deceiving at times. You'll measure what seems to be a fairly easy jump, and in the end your character shoots off to the right or left, plunging into the deep dark abyss. That can clench the teeth pretty hard. And although it's nice to have challenging platformers and puzzles, it's frustrating when you die based on a messy camera. Con number 3. The game's price when compared to the overall product has sparked minor complaints, as many believe that a game that only has a few more hours than the original Portal shouldn't be priced twice as much. As someone who's a customer of the game, yeah, I can see that. I felt a little disappointed myself after only about 6 hours of gameplay, and what do you know, the credits start rolling up. That doesn't seem fair. But hey, give the developers all the support you can, I guess. Con number 4. This final con is just a simple gripe and can be excused. I just wanted to gripe. The handling of the physical copies for this game were pretty bad in my opinion. If you want a physical copy of this game, you have to spend twice as much because the only copies created were the collector's editions. Don't get me wrong, I love collector's editions of games, but you can't do that when you may have a fan base who doesn't have internet, doesn't have a PC, or just don't want to pay $40 for a physical copy of the game. It's mind-boggling. This game could only last you a week if you needed to, and you can't sell it back. That's all for my review. Sorry for going on a tantrum again, I tend to do that a lot. And, apparently we're supposed to do some sort of rating system? Glad I was told about that. So, really quick, Honey Pop gets a 9 out of 10 for being the first Candy Crush that's got me to play it for double digits worth of hours, and the anime titties kinda helped with that. And Has Been Heroes gets a 7 out of 10 for being a fun but simple lane fighter. This game, however, gets a solid 8 out of 10 for its atmosphere and satisfying gameplay. You can check out more reviews on our website and more videos on the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, as every one of those is deeply appreciated by yours truly. I'm Lawrence Armstrong, and you'll be in my heart forever. See ya.